another edition of Solid Rock Collecting at the Solid Rock Coffee House. I think we can all be pretty stubborn at times, can't we? I mean, ridiculously so as human beings. The other day I was driving home, a handful of days ago. I have this old pickup truck, and the door latch doesn't quite shut all the way, and so I decided that I was going to try to play mechanic on the way home, and started fiddling with it. And before I knew it, the door swung open into the other lane. I'm like holding on, and as I watched the bolt and 3 washers kind of bounce down the road, and I'm just like, instantly felt like the biggest idiot. I'm like, what am I doing? Obstinacy and stubbornness often make us miss the obvious. They make us miss the things that after you would take a step back, you'd be like, yeah, that's not very smart. You shouldn't be doing that. Obstinate, the definition that I was looking up, says stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action despite attempts to persuade one to do so. Or stubborn is determination not to change one's attitude or position on something, especially in spite of good arguments or reasons to do so. Right off, when we're kind of thinking about this topic of just stubbornness and obstinance, I just think right away you think of our political opinions, or the things that we view it as in that political sphere as being one way or the other. We usually have very strong opinions, whatever they might be, and we can find plenty of examples within those opinions of us stubbornly choosing, our course of action regardless of, other opinions that might be better, or, great reasons to do so. But we get so set in our stubbornness and our opinions. In Isaiah 48, 3-5, it says, I've declared the former things from the beginning. They went forth from my mouth, and I caused them to hear it. Suddenly I did them, and they came to pass. So talking about, right here, it's talking to the children of Israel that are in captivity in Babylon. And he says in verse 4, because I knew that you were obstinate, so I predicted these things that were going to come beforehand, because I knew you were obstinate, or hard, and your neck was an iron sinew, just a hard, stiff neck, and your bronze brow. Speaking of just both of those pictures of something that unyielding, an iron sinew or an iron neck, like there's no moving of it. It's set in its way and set where it's going. A bronze brow, it's not, it's metal. There's no flexibility to it. Even from the beginning I have declared it to you. Before it came to pass I proclaimed it to you, lest you should say, my idol has done them, and my carved image and my molded image have commanded them. So the main idea here is God is saying again to those in captivity in Babylon, I'm telling you what's going to happen. The end of your captivity is coming, and which it starts talking about later in the chapter. And I'm telling you these things beforehand, knowing that you have a stiff neck, that you're obstinate, because I don't want you to write off my involvement in your life. Write it off to idols, or to things that have no heart, no love, maybe just the random chance of events, no care. I don't want you to miss me. I don't want you to miss my involvement in your life. So I'm telling you these things beforehand, knowing your nature. I mean, we're all stubborn. We're all can be obstinate. But the Lord in His Word tells us things before they happen. Doesn't He do that like with sin? Or things that, I could probably, if I sat down for 5 minutes, write a long list of things that I probably need to work on or aren't, ideal. Or maybe things that I'm walking in sin in, if it's my anger or, my lack of patience or whatever it might be. Or my hardness towards this person or that person. But my obstinacy that causes me, just like the children of Israel, to do that same thing, or makes me at risk of doing the same thing. And that is, they cause me, those obstinate iron, bronze places in me, the immovable places, cause me to give credit to the wrong places and miss His fingerprints that are all over our days, the events in our lives. They cause me, when I'm set like that, to miss God's involvement in my life. A few days ago, I felt like I was supposed to go Sometimes I have crazy ideas, and sometimes I act out on them, and sometimes I don't. But it wasn't that crazy of an idea. I just was thinking, I felt like I was supposed to go walk down by a creek in town, and I had a good time praying, and I got up and I was going to drive back to church, and I ran into somebody that things didn't end too well with, and I've been praying for and hoping that they would come back to church and yada yada yada. And after that, it was a short thing, but I just got to say I love you, but faith sees that God's at work. Stubbornness or my obstinance writes things off or rolls its eyes at things like that. Or when I hear especially somebody else say something to that nature, I just, my eyes typically can have a tendency to roll or to be like, okay, you're reading a little too much into that. And in my hardness of heart, I write off God's involvement. Because He very much is. Because faith looks at things like that happen all the time, and see God's fingerprints. My obstinance and my pride and my stubbornness, just kind of, my stiff neck just is like, no, this just like the children of Israel here, it's just nothing. It's a dead thing. There's nothing alive in this. There's nothing happening here. Like an idol, which is immovable, dead, just an inanimate object. I can look at life as just being this inanimate object that has no response towards me, and I miss out on God's loving, just passionate care for me, and His involvement in every detail of my life. Psalm 37:23 says that He delights in every detail of our lives. So I guess really just as I think about this in my own stubborn and obstinate heart, it just causes me to say, Lord, please keep me from pride, from obstinate stubbornness, that caused me to miss seeing you, and to miss out really on seeing how much you're not far removed from us and far removed from my day-to-day activities, but you're very much involved in every detail. The things that I do in my day, I can either I'm going to do them anyways, and a lot of times I do them without realizing that the Lord's presence is right there with me and that He's involved. It's a quote that keeps popping up, I feel like, and I think I shared it, at least one iteration of it, a video or two ago. But it doesn't really matter what we're doing, it's the heart that we're doing it with. I think of the Lord, we were looking at Ephesians 2, a group of us yesterday, and just talks to us about us being His masterpiece or His work of art or His poema. And sometimes we get caught up in what the Lord has in us to do, and it seems like these little teeny brush strokes, and it's like, this is worthless. Like literally we're going like this 100 times or 1,000 times. And yet really we're God's workmanship. And He's the one who's creating us into, all we want to do really as humans is have a life that was worth something. But we're not the ones we're not very good artists. We kind of like kindergarten with the tapestry, but our Father in heaven is just, it might seem sometimes like it's 1,000 times in a row that we're doing the same thing. But when we step back, and instead of just walking in obstinance and stubbornness, but have that ability to, like, instead of just unbolting the car door and letting it fling open, but to stop and to walk in faith, we get to step back and see, you know what, all these mundane things are just small brush strokes that is painting this beautiful field or this masterpiece that He's in charge of and He's figuring out. But my stubbornness and my hard-heartedness make me miss it. Make me miss the fact that even the little teeniest brush strokes matter and are part of the larger picture He's doing. Well, thanks guys for hanging out for a few minutes. Hope you are having a good one on this Monday. April's wrapping up, and we'll see you soon this week. All right, bye.